Alright, let's do it. Man or bear? I had to unironically ban this meme, or not even a meme. It was like a cultural thing. Posted on Twitter like all the time. I had to ban that phrase for a while. People would constantly come into my stream and ask me. It was so fucking annoying. I hated that. Yeah, we ban people for this.
Would you rather be stuck in a forest with a man or a bear?
Man or bear is this week's idiotic waste of time, and the
I know, and it's so stupid because it's like I could beat up a man. I couldn't beat up a bear. Like, even by the logic of like, oh, men are predatory. It's like, yeah, but I could at least stand a chance.
answers that people are giving are very predictable because they're stupid.
Man is scary. With a bear.
What I've heard about bears, they don't always attack you, right? So maybe a bear.
Probably a bear.
100%.
Are you implying that all men attack you? Like, by that logic in itself, I just hate this shit so much. They probably pick all the dumb women too, like the dumbest women. I bet you there were women in this reel that actually answered honestly, and they were like, no, of course, I'd pick the man. Yeah, the man's not gonna hurt you. Maybe they're nice. Like, they didn't do that. It's for the shock factor or like the stupidity factor.
A bear, which is like terrifying to say, but
Definitely a bear. Some men are very scary out there.
a bear.
I think people are scary. Chat. I've seen some scary women in real life, okay? Like,
Even some men are saying bear, although we could predict that this man's opinion will be whatever makes women approve of him.
If I were alone in the woods, would you rather me encounter a
she has a gun to his head. But she has a gun to his head, man. Like, she's filming him, like, you know, like she's putting the gun up and then she's got the camera.
bear or a man?
I feel more like bear. I don't know, because I feel like I would know what the outcome would be with a bear.
Of course, clearly a great source of bear advice. So here's the thing. I have met bears in the woods. I am bear aware. That's what they say in bear country. Bears are a big deal in bear country, and they want you to keep them to a bare minimum. Bear spray costs $50. I've also met men in the woods, and I gotta tell you, not as stressful. And I know what you're thinking. I'm not a woman. Men are not women. Please tell me you were thinking that. And so...
Hold the phone. Pause. There are plenty of men that get assaulted by other men. And I'm not even talking about, like, violence or anything like that. Like, SA. Like, are you implying that men don't get, you know, R-worded?
So therefore, a man would not be a danger to me. Well, let's take a look at some statistics. Who gets murdered by strangers more? Oh, here's the source. A larger percentage of males, 21%, were murdered by a stranger than females, 12%. So in this scenario, as a man, I would be in roughly 21/12 as much danger, which is almost double. And yet, even though I have more to fear when I encounter a man in the woods, I experience no adrenaline response. I fear not for my very life. I reach not for my man spray. No, I carry only bear spray, upon which I place 5 fingers during each encounter of bear awareness. A lot of people have been providing.
My biggest gripe is that you replace any other, like, if you replace the word man with any other, like, ideology, maybe like your gender or your sexual preference, this sounds absolutely heinous. And that's why I banned people for unironically asking me that cringe-ass question. Like, because no matter what I would say, it's stupid, because it's a stupid question.
Fuzzy math about bear versus man. Again, note the level of masculinity.
To be clear, the answer is unequivocally a bear. In the United States, there are 340,000 bears and about 57 million hikers, 26 million of which are female. Since 2020, there have been exactly 7 women killed by bears.
All right.
There are also 165 million.
What?
Men and 168 million women. Since 2020, there have been 8,000 fatal attacks on women by men.
All right, I see where you're going.
In order to adjust for population, the number of bears in the United States would have to increase by a multiplier of 485 in order to equate to the same population of men. So in this hypothetical, 3,395 deaths.
This guy, I love this guy. It's like Reddit posts incarnate. It's like, actually, if you do this like math right here, it means like, also it's like bears are like animals and men are animals, so therefore they behave in the same exact way. Like they think they're sounding really smart, but they're not.
Okay, it's a lot more than 7.
You're still greater than 2 times more likely to be killed by a man than a bear if you're a woman in the United States.
Wait a minute, I thought you said there were only 26 million hikers. Don't you have to be where bears are to be in a bear attack? Are you suggesting that if they're...
Yeah, not every state has bears either. Like, again, they're gaslighting you, man. This is literal gaslighting.
There were more bears that they would all be taking Ubers? I did the math for you. This divided by this starts with 3 zeros, and this divided by this starts with 4. The reason this is all so stupid is that the only way to figure out who's more dangerous is total attacks divided by total encounters. And how are you going to count the number of encounters you have with strange men every day?
Yeah, an attack could also mean like, oh, he pushed me when I was walking, or... Like, what constitutes as an attack? Oh, he touched me without my consent. That's attacking. Again, that's why this kind of thing is so iffy, in my opinion. Yeah, he looked at me funny. Like, Jesus Christ. Or in some countries, you might underreport because you don't feel comfortable. How do you even do that? You can't justify having that happen to you in a different country, because in some countries... they wouldn't tell you, or they're embarrassed to say so. It's why SA against men is also underreported, because, you know, men are supposed to be big and manly, and that's like a lower statistic. So it's like, oh no, men actually don't get SA'd as often as women. It's like, well, you don't know that, because in our culture, men are big and strong. They're supposed to be the providers. If you're seen as weak, you're not supposed to talk about it. Like, all this emotional shit, like... There's so many factors. It's such a disingenuous argument.
Isn't it thousands a day if you live in a city? When was the last time you bumped into 1,000 bears? They thrive in Grand Teton National Park, and I saw 0. So, I'd rather run into a bear is clearly dishonest. They're arguing in bad faith. Why would they do that? Let's revisit Who is a 10. If you haven't seen the video, it's on YouTube when you're done here. It explains basically that men compete for status and power out in the open, while women disguise their power games as equality and fairness while making power moves in secret, and one of those power moves is the accusation. So just like a lot of women are saying,
I feel like women should be educated about what the consequences are of accusing someone of doing something like that from an early age. Like, maybe starting from like 16, maybe 18 years old. Like, do a school and be like, hey, if you do this, this could ruin their life. Because, like, I got blackpilled pretty early on. Like, I got blackpilled pretty early on. I don't want to get into it, but, like, there was some horrible shit that, there was something that happened, and I saw someone getting into trouble for something that didn't happen, and they got into shit for it, and then it turns out it wasn't true, and I was like, damn. It wasn't me, by the way. I'm not involved. It was just a story I heard, but, like, that was really sad, and I got blackpilled pretty early, maybe like 18 or 19 years old. And their life was ruined. I just don't think... I just don't think some of them understand what the fuck they do to, like... to men, that... Like, people start... I don't know. I'm just getting into, like... I'm gonna take off the emotional hat. I'm just saying it's horrible. There are absolutely men that deserve to be accused. Absolutely, 100%. But I've seen it firsthand. Sure, it's anecdotal, but it's just sad.
I'm a 10, you're a 10, we're all 10s, everyone is beautiful, even though they don't believe it.
Do you think Lizzo is beautiful?
I mean, yeah. Lizzo is hot. Yeah. 100%.
Molly, is anyone
Lizzo is beautiful because she has power. What do you mean? She's not physically attractive. I'm sorry. She's huge. She's unhealthy.
I told you that you look like Lizzo?
Women also
What? Wait a minute.
was hot. Yeah, 100%.
Molly, has anyone ever told you that you look like Lizzo?
women
Yeah, you want to know why she smacked him? It's because she's not rich, hot, and famous in her eyes. Yeah, that's why she got offended. She doesn't have a million Instagram followers.
also like to say that men are dangerous because that turns you into a threat that needs to be managed. Worse than a bear with Uber. So if it can be agreed upon that you are more dangerous than a bear, then that justifies excluding you from the power hierarchy, and then you become this little fellow who's not having a good time. And even though it's not a realistic threat evaluation, remember, this is the chance of it happening per year, and it's even lower when considering if it's a stranger, like a man in the woods. The collective negotiation appears to be working. More and more men are reporting feeling excluded from the job market and the
And to top it off, if you're a 10, you can literally get away with murder on both sides. We literally saw a TikTok of a woman and the Instagram posts underneath, she murdered someone, I'm pretty sure it was, or she did something really horrible. There were people underneath saying like, oh my God, I can fix her. Women and men do the same thing. If you're attractive, conventionally attractive even, people will absolutely defend you. There will always be some fucking low IQ denthead who's like, they're a hole or they're a penis. They can get away with it because they're hot. Yeah, true.
dating
Pretty
market,
privilege is real.
pretty much
yeah.
everything. I know so many men who are significantly above average, and they go out in the world to do something and they get told, yeah, no, we're saving that for someone else. This was going to be me. If I didn't blow up on TikTok, this was about to be me. There's a smaller one on the back. He doesn't have a mouth. That's kind of more accurate. So the math
That's cute.
doesn't make that
That's
much
cute.
sense,
I like
but we don't
that.
really need it anyway, because nobody actually believes that anybody would be more frightened to meet a man in the woods than a bear. And if you do believe that, try it and bring $50. Once you understand the pattern, it becomes a little.
I mean, even in my like completely broken down logical brain, I could still kick a man in the nuts and probably be okay. Like, I could probably kick him really hard and probably get away for a couple of meters before he's, like, regaining his, like, composure. Like, unironically, that's a big power move that people don't understand. What if the man has a gun? So what if I have a gun, dumbass? We're talking about, like, on bear equivalency of, like, bear has no gun, the man has no gun. I could probably try and kick him in the nuts. There's a chance for me to get away. If I try and fight a bear, I'm dead. One swipe and my head's going clean off. What if the bear has a gun? Well, then I'm double dead. I don't know what to tell you.
More clear when large numbers of women are saying things they clearly don't believe, like men are more dangerous than bears, or Lizzo
Hot men are not dangerous. Yeah.
is a 10.
Has anyone ever told you that you look like Lizzo?
It's just a performance.
Such a
It
bad
means
clip.
I'm nice and I'm sweet and I'm not competing for unearned advantages. And whenever a group of people votes itself unearned advantages at the expense of another group of people, those
Delululemon. Wait, I need to see this little picture.
unearned advantages at the expense
Delululemon. Little French hat in the Starbucks. Oh, this guy's fucking funny, dude. So underrated, dude.
of another group of people, those people eventually stop doing
Lululemon.
productive things, and then society collapses. This is what every city looks like right now. This doesn't have to be this complicated. It doesn't need to be a 7-minute video. All you need to know is lying is bad. When people start to say things like Lizzo is hot and I feel safe around bears, just go,
He's
what's
going
your
off,
ulterior motive?
dude.
Nobody knows how dangerous men are compared to bears, but I do know that I would rather see another bear in the woods than another woman in human resources.
Based. Again, human resources was a result of women actually being unironically harassed in the work culture, in the workplace back in the 80s and 70s. I think, again, it was a good idea in principle. There was a problem. But now the pendulum has shifted so far back that we are completely losing the plot. Like, oh, the ugly guy stared at me in the cubicle and he said, do you want to go for lunch sometime? That's sexual harassment. But if the guy that's a boss and I might get a raise and I could maybe suck a dick so I can get a raise, and maybe if he's hot, then that's bonus points. That's not sexual harassment. I'm not going to report that to HR. No. I love that. Very cool.